Oh, I love it. It's awesome.
It
All right,
helps with
welcome
the beard.
to shut up about your beard. Welcome to Word on the Street, episode 89, everybody. I'm Trey Griggs. The Street Crew is coming in. We got Justin Shepard. We got Robert MF and Bain. We got Raquel. How are you, Raquel? What's going on in Pennsylvania?
I'm very well. How's everyone doing?
Phenomenal. We're getting snow tomorrow. Can't wait. We're going to go do some snow sledding. I mean, if it's going to be cold, I just want snow. That's all I'm going to say. If it's going to be cold, it should be snowing. If it's not going to be cold, I don't care. But if it's going to be cold, I want snow on the ground. That's how it works. So
yeah, we're supposed to get like 12 inches or more, I guess. Sunday going into Monday. So I'm excited.
Wow. Well, that's a much more enjoyable day than we're supposed to get 4. So I mean, it's decent. You know, I can live with 4, but 12 would be freaking awesome. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. We're going skiing. I mean, my family's going skiing. I'm going to the spa, but we're going skiing.
Jealous. So jealous.
We even got some snow in Birmingham about a week and a half ago.
Did you really?
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
About an inch.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not too common down there.
No.
Snow is fun until it gets dirty, and then it's stupid.
Big dumb. Now that I have a dog, I realize this snow is really dumb.
Does your dog play in it? Do you have to clean it off afterwards, or does it want to go out? What's the problem?
So here's the deal. So I preface this. I love Ginger. I love my dog. I would push a bear for my dog. She likes to play in dirty snow only, specifically yellow snow, and I don't understand.
Oh, really?
I get it. Like, I love her. I'm like, Ginge, what are you doing?
Well, our dog likes the snow. So whenever we put him out in the snow, we have to clean him up, and it's that's the worst part. It's just like cleaning up from that.
What kind of dog do you have again, Trey?
Golden Doodle, mini Golden Doodle.
So does yours deal with the issue of like getting salt in between its toes?
I don't know. I don't even check. Well, you mean like salt whenever there's ice on the ground? That kind of salt.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
We honestly put him out back. We don't let him go out front where the salt would be, and we don't go on the road. So I don't know. Actually, I don't know if we've ever really even done that.
So Ginge can't just be let out back. Like, she needs to go walk. Like, she's like 70 pounds, so we need to walk her around. But with the snow on the ground, she'll like start limping around. So I have to like get in between her toes and like clean this salt out on our walks.
Oh, that's horrible.
And she refuses to put booties on. She'll like walk around like
any type of hygiene for dogs. I'm not down. I'm just not. Like brushing their teeth. Does anybody brush your dog's teeth? I know I'm supposed to. I know I'm supposed to. I'm not doing that. I give them the greenies to chew on. I figure that's good enough.
Yes,
that's what we do.
Yeah, I'm not going to give them like I've seen people hold them brush their dog. I'm not doing that. Come on, it's a dog.
Trey, you want something funny? You said brush teeth, and she immediately poked her head up like, what?
There must be a treat involved with that.
Oh, she knows. Like, I say, Ginger, you want to brush teeth, and she's ready to rip.
Well, we just had Greg and Kyle and Coleman join us. That's 7. We only got 3 spots left. Is Chris Jolly going to be one of those spots? I doubt it. I have no idea, but we'll see. See, now that there's a little restriction on. He can't just jump in when he wants. If he wants to be here, he needs to get here a little earlier. So I know Diana's supposed to be on the show today. She promoted that on LinkedIn. She's obviously doing just her her late arrival just to make sure everybody knows. So we'll see how that goes.
Fashion
Blue. That's right. She's going to roll in for her segment. It's just her segment, which is going to roll in. So which is good. And kudos to Diana. She was the only one working on New Year's Eve. I don't know if you guys caught the show, but she was literally like grinding at it. She was working hard all the way to New Year's. So kudos to her on that. And Juan's jumping in. I hope we have room for people. I know. Juan, what's up, man?
How's it going, guys?
I know this is new, man. We're doing some new technology. I can stream banners now and all kinds of stuff. So
nice.
check this out. So I can just put up, just to remind everybody. We got the Tough Mudder charity event coming up April 30th. We're going to be highlighting more of that here in the coming weeks. So keep your eyes open for that. If you haven't registered yet, do that. It's the one in Wright City, Missouri. We're going to be doing that here in St. Louis. So be sure to do that. And we'll talk more about the charity that we're going to be helping. I've got a friend. I'll talk about this real quick. I've got a really good friend who used to be in my youth group when I was a youth pastor, and he went into the Marines. Just a really great guy. And then he was in a motorcycle accident and is paralyzed from the waist down. Radically changed his life, as you can imagine. He's very athletic and just very obviously independent. And now, of course, things are just much different. He's back to being independent now, which is awesome, in a wheelchair. But it took him like 3 or 4 years to figure out like what his life was going to be like. Went through some depression, just really struggled with that. His name is Jeff Combs. And he lives in Wright City. He's a dear friend of mine. He bought his own little 10-acre plot of land and put up a pole barn. And in that pole barn, he actually created a warehouse, and he now does graphic design and shirts and hats and, you know, all those kind of things. And he does specifically a lot of things with veterans and companies that are working with veterans for T-shirts and stuff like that. And then he has a nonprofit where he takes other wounded veterans, like to do adventurous stuff like scuba diving and parasailing and other stuff like that. So like once a month he goes and he takes 5 or 10 wounded veterans to go do something fun and just kind of give them purpose and give them, you know, something to smile about. So very excited to be supporting his charity and helping him out, hoping to raise a lot of money for what he's doing, which is awesome. And his company, in case you want to check it out online, is Lima Charlie Clothing Company, limacharliecc.com. And you can go and see some of the stuff he does. He does a lot of patriotic T-shirts and, you know, flags and hats and stuff like that. So just a great guy, and look forward to you guys all getting to meet him and hear more about that. So pretty excited here. Got the banners going on StreamYard, but that's not why we're here, folks. We're here to talk about what's going on in the industry. And I wonder if anybody else has joined in. Oh, Nico's sitting there waiting. Sorry, Nico. I'm getting used to the new technology, my friend.
Nico is literally just like, oh my God.
I know. He was like, can somebody please help out? Well, it's different because
I was vaping, so just ignore me.
It's different because in Zoom, you can actually pop up a window and you can see when somebody just pops into the waiting room. But here, I got to keep scrolling down. To
so hard to produce and host.
I know.
Oh,
Gosh,
man.
It's so tough. Kyle, I'm going to have to get somebody like you just to, instead of being on the show, maybe you can just run the show from the background.
I'm too expensive. I cost too much.
True that. I know that to be true. Without a doubt. Well, let's start out the show today talking about something that I saw that is only going to make matters worse in our industry and transportation logistics, and that is the letter that was sent notifying of strike for BNSF. Do you guys see this?
No.
Anybody see this? Yeah. So you guys should check this out online right now. So BNSF, their union, decided that they're going to strike. I actually have the letter right here. I'm going to share it with you guys so you can see. Well, maybe I'm going to share it. How do you share your screen on this? Oh, here we go. I got it. Never mind. Shut up. I got it. All right.
It is breaking news.
Breaking news. All right. Okay, very good. All right. Here we go. So check this out. So here is the letter. I don't know if you can read it or not, but this is a letter from the union, SMART, the rail union, and they are going to be striking. So.
Is that showing up for anybody, or am I the only one not seeing it?
You're not seeing it? Oh, wait, hang on.
Nope.
Shut up. Okay, hang on. Here it is.
We were all just shaking our head like, oh, yeah.
How about now?
Yes.
Yep,
What is
we're good
Good
now.
now? Okay. All right. Excellent. Very good. So they're gonna be going on strike, and pretty crazy. So I can only imagine I don't know how long it's gonna last. Not too sure, you know, what the impacts are going to be, but just let's talk about what that might mean if one of the major railroad lines, transporting, who knows how many, pieces of freight across the country strikes. What's that going to be like?
Chaos.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to make the driver shortage even worse, I feel like.
More chaos than we even have now.
Did you see why they're striking, by the way?
It was there's some labor disputes, I think. Let's see.
So this is interesting because it's not like a normal strike where they're trying to get more money or anything like that. They're complaining over an unfair attendance policy. Basically, BNSF wants to they're implementing a points-based attendance system where you can be penalized anytime you take time off. And their argument is sometimes, these people are working 7 days a week. Like, there's no work-life balance there. So as much as I hate to sign on to, go ahead and strike, like, if a company is not going to be there and actually, honestly take care of their workers, they don't deserve for their workers to be working for them.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And here's something interesting with all of the things going on right now among just the labor problems in the United States and how hard it is to find workers. I would think that some of the major employers would at least be considering how can we make this a more enticing place to work rather than a less enticing place to work. Because I can only imagine what would happen if they actually lost all those employees, not just strike, but literally had to go and rehire and train and all the things that go along with that.
They all just go to Union Pacific all at once.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but freight hasn't really slowed down. What are you guys seeing on the front lines in terms of capacity and freight? Is it status quo, same thing?
I'm having a shortage of drivers a lot this week. Like there's been a major influx of freight. And I don't know if it's just because a lot of my stuff's inbound from the ports right now. But there's a major shortage. I'm getting told like 2 to 3 days for booking out.
And I know a lot of owner operators will often take time off during the holidays, and just rest their trucks for a little bit. When do they typically start coming back? Is it just too early to see them coming back in full capacity, or is it something else you think?
They're back. They're just busy. They've got their
There's also a lot of seasonal drivers that work until late December, and they really take off January and February seriously as a vacation, especially Latin drivers in the southeast area, Atlanta, and South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida. They just jump off the boat for a few months and come back somewhere around March. And being like knowing that Latin population is like, I know they're on vacations. They're in Cancun and Tulum. They're somewhere else.
Yeah,
taking the time
I was
off.
about to say this is a big time for traveling, especially throughout Mexico and places like that for these drivers, because it's cheap right now.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I don't think things are going to change, and this this is only going to make matters a little bit worse in the short term, because the rail yards. I mean, their profits are so high in the past 2 years. They've been making so much money, along with the ocean cargo companies. This will slow things down a little bit, and will only make capacity on the roads even worse.
Yeah, they're making so much money. They need to penalize their workers for not being able to come to work. That's great.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell you what's interesting. There's so much more transparency with social media now in terms of companies and working conditions that, companies are eventually going to have to realize that their perspective on social media, whether it be from them or from their employees or from somebody else, is going to be real. Like it's going to be reality, and they're going to have to really, manage that a lot better than they have been. It's interesting, like it or not, the guy in Seattle, Dan Price, who changed his salary and made a minimum salary for his employees and all that kind of stuff. He's winning on social media, and he's winning in the sphere of wanting people to come and work for him because he managed that well. He messaged that super well, and I think companies are going to have to start highlighting their work environments, their benefits, their salaries. They're going to have to raise their salaries because people are just not they're not up for that anymore.
I think they have to focus on retention. Like that's another thing that like it's all they're bringing in these people, but like as an employee, you're sitting there looking around the world and you're like, man, why am I suffering? Why am I dealing with this BS when there's so many open jobs? I mean, I know my wife works for MathWorks, right? And she was talking to me last night about how they are truly putting their money where their mouth is in terms of trying to retain high performance employees, where they had to change up their entire culture. But you're going to need that. I mean, that's a tech sector type of things, but I mean, it's going to just trickle down to everything.
Yeah, I agree with that. And again, I think that companies are going to have to make this a focus, not only for making significant changes, but also how they're messaging those changes, how they're marketing, what are they looking like online? Because again, that's where people are living. People are finding jobs online. I can't believe how many people are finding jobs on Instagram and on LinkedIn now, especially and other places like that. So it's only going to continue that the way that your company looks online is going to be significant and going to be reality.
A point that and she's not here today, but Diana Guzman made a post on LinkedIn, I think it was yesterday, about how she was calling to check up on a driver who had had like a change in routes, and how appreciative the driver was that she had bothered to just call and make sure that they were doing okay with the new route. And when Kyle's sitting there talking about retention, like stuff like that goes so far to make your employees actually feel valued. And it's not hard. It doesn't cost you anything to make that stupid phone call.
Yeah, no, I agree. The little things really matter, and I think a lot of times those get overlooked in the business, especially in hyper growth companies or companies where their focus is more just on growing top line revenue and not actually building a solid company. I think those types of details really get lost. Coleman, you're about to mention something maybe along with those lines or something else. What were you about to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, especially in my business, there has been a large focus that we've all been talking about where it has shifted a lot towards the employee, and not only about finding and bringing on that solid talent, but that's a conversation that we have with our clients all the time that Kyle touched on is, hey, we can find the best talent that's out there, get them in your organization, but you have to figure out a way to retain them. Look in your internal organization and make sure that you're keeping your current employees happy. Otherwise, given the job market, I mean, everybody else has said it, there's so many different ways that people can find different roles, LinkedIn, like you were talking about, and just jump and ship. So it's interesting to see how the shift has focused more on employees, whether it's at BNSF. I know King Soopers in Colorado out here, their whole company has gone on strike and walked out because of unfair pay and things along those lines. So it's a good thing to happen, right? People need to have a work-life balance and a livable wage, but it's interesting to see how the dynamic has changed recently.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a turning point, right, where people are just no longer willing to even do it. Like it used to be, hey, you have a job, you work that job, you deal with it. You know, if you don't like it, you just deal with it. And people, I think now, for whatever reason, maybe the government handouts, I don't know, maybe just a tipping point where I'm just not gonna do it. I'll find something else, or I'll do nothing for a while, or I'll freelance. I mean, the gig economy is still in existence. You can still find some opportunities to work, whether it be driving for Uber short term or something else. You can still make some money if you leave your employer. And I think some people are saying, you know what, I'd rather leave my employer, make a little less, and do some Uber driving for a while I figured out, where before that option didn't really exist. And I think we're seeing that. In fact, I read a statistic recently on CNBC that there was a survey of employees, and it said, if you're forced to go back to the office, would you do that or would you quit? 55% said they would quit. They would rather quit than go back to the office. So that's just one aspect of employment. But there are these triggers like working from home or working in an office or pay or recognition or whatever it might be that are causing people to say, you know what, I'd rather just walk away than to do that. And I'll figure something else out. It's a really fascinating place that we're at right now from an employment and labor standpoint.
This is why I left my job in 2019, because I was not being utilized or accepted for the work that I did. And so that's why I started Zen Freight Solutions. I am currently getting ready to put out a job posting for somebody that is going to be working from home and here in the U.S. So I'll let you know how that goes.
And I think that's actually going to happen more times than not, where people are going to either, like I said, do a gig job or maybe start their own thing. Say, you know what, I've learned enough. I know how to do this. I'm going to try my own hand at it. And I think that's exciting,
Trey, are you playing this Adele song on purpose? Like, as we talk about, like, I was like dying to Raquel. Like, please. I'm like, what is he doing?
I've just got some random music going in the background. I've been on let me just say that. I've been on a huge Ed Sheeran kick lately. I don't know why. I've been like learning his songs and just, all that kind of stuff. But then what ends up happening is I play an Ed Sheeran song on Apple Music, and then it just plays stuff similar, and this just rolled in. So, unfortunately, I've been listening to a little more, Ariana Grande and some others.
Trey, you can be an Adele fan with not being shamed here. It's okay. It's not.
I was going to say, so Sheeran is okay.
I don't actually know Adele's song. She's got like 2 songs I know. This is not one of them. I'm just saying. I mean, she's a great singer. She's a phenomenal voice.
What are the 2 songs you know?
She's got some pipes. I don't know the actual names of the song.
He's like, I bet my tongue shouldn't have said it.
Put me on the spot. Listen, if there were 2 songs that came on the radio, I would know they're Adele. Let's just say that.
Roll it in the deep and Hello from the Other Side.
Thank you. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jeez. Acting like my friend today. Kyle, you're not.
Those are some solid powerlifting songs.
Those are some solid powerlifting songs on the playlist.
You would be surprised what we actually listen to. Like, don't be wrong, like we got some of the harder stuff, like all that, but it is not uncommon for me to have like Disney show tunes in my headphones if I'm just training.
There's some good Disney songs out there. I mean, really, some solid.
There's a lot of good Disney songs out there.
Dude, if you want to talk, Encanto's music freaking bombs.
Yeah, it is.
You guys haven't heard that. It is
we're on a kick right now of that. I think we've watched it 7 times in the last 48 hours.
Dude, me personally, I'm not sure about you, Bane, but I'm lifting to the tick 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 and it don't stop, the one where the big strong girl. That's my girl.
I'll
Louisa.
The Moana soundtrack and the Frozen soundtrack. Absolute fire.
Frozen's
Dude,
good.
you need to put on the Encanto. The Encanto soundtrack.
Is amazing.
The lady, really the Family Mardi Gras, I forgot whether it's the Pressure one, and then What Happened to Bruno are just fire bangers.
We don't talk about Bruno, no.
There it is.
I've been listening to that one quite a bit now. No, it is good. And that one was this one. I didn't realize this was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton and of In the Heights. So really good.
There's another one. I only know this because my kid had a COVID exposure, so I've been daddy daycare for the past 2 weeks.
Buddy.
The life.
That's not called daddy daycare. That's called parenting.
It's your kid when you're 1.5.
When it's your kid,
daddy daycare when it's 1.5, and it's a nightmare. I can't believe this thing came as part of my blood. It's ridiculous.
If it's not normal hours, Greg, it's daycare apparently.
Yeah, it's daycare.
It's normal hours like nighttime, bedtime, morning stuff, right?
But
weekends,
have you guys watch Vivo?
Weekends, that's parenting.
Wait, Kyle, do you only have one kid?
Yeah.
If you're not outnumbered, don't say shit. Don't say shit. I don't want to hear
one toddler. I got one toddler. I got the toddler. Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Talk to me when you got 3 teenagers yelling at you.
Yeah, it's a whole new ballgame. That's a whole different.
That all have personalities like
go
mine.
outside and you don't have to worry about it. So
They're all
there's options. You got options at that point. So
I'm getting yelled at by a 1.5-year-old that only knows to say the words "I want," "mine," and "no, I don't want." So try arguing with that.
I have a 12-year-old daughter. I'll see your 1-year-old and raise you any day.
Yeah, I would go back to that anytime. I would love to go back to that.
I get it. They're tiny.
Take a nap.
It's a tiny
I'm
terrace.
guessing I'm the only one that has one old enough to be leaving the nest. I'll be an empty nester in a few months.
Oh, Justin, that's crazy.
Congratulations.
We're getting the first one out soon. He graduates in May. So
there we go.
My daughter leaves next week for her mission.
Yeah, Justin, will this be so? I have a question. So becoming an empty nester, do you anticipate that you'll relax more and be just kind of excited, or will there be a higher level of concern and worry now that they're not with you but on their own completely?
I raised good babies. I don't worry about them a whole lot. I mean, obviously, you don't stop parenting. The last 2 days, I've been on phone calls with my daughter in Baltimore trying to get her car fixed. So not necessarily worry. I wish I could be up there and do the car repair for her, but
yeah. Got to let them live their life, though, right? At some point, they got to
layer to it, right? There's different. It's a spectrum. There's different things you're going to do as a parent when they're 1.5. There's different things you're going to do when they're 13, when they're 18, when they're 25. In my parents' case, I turned 40 in March. There's different things they do as parents, but they still parent me.
Yeah, my mom worries about me like it's nobody's business. I'm like, please. Like, when was the last time I asked you for money, Mom? I'm okay. Like, let it go. I'm good. But it just never ends, I guess. So
here's the thing I'll say is all y'all about like, 1.5-year-old take that. Come to Massachusetts right now where it is 20 degrees outside and I have maybe a 2,000 square foot house. It's tiny. And I have that 1.5-year-old terrorist who is everywhere.
No problem. All day.
Everywhere. She can't go outside. I can't do anything. It's freezing.
I take that all day.
No, because this is what you guys don't remember. COVID means I can't go anywhere. Can't bring her anywhere until we get a negative test. I can't do stuff because I'm not being safe if I do that shit. So I've been stuck with this terrorist for.
I will give you the COVID. I will give you the COVID situation. I never had to deal with that. I never had to deal with that. But
I had to deal with my 15-year-old and my 12-year-old for 2 days while we were snowed in and the power was out.
That's good.
Ooh.
Which meant no devices.
Cool.
No devices.
I was fine with 2 days. 2 weeks is where I hit. By the way, Netflix has some bangers. I'll tell you that. They got Vivo is a good movie too, another Lin-Manuel. So watch that one if you guys are interested. Good songs.
Yeah, Kyle's looking for all the recommendations.
Kid, I don't want to hear it.
I've watched all the recommendations I can give you guys. So like here, this is gonna be Disney/Pixar/DreamWorks Music Hour. I'm here to talk about it.
Nice.
I'm sitting with my kids watching like Narcos and
yeah, can't do that. I mean,
gotta kick these kids in the street game.
You can show your kid Narcos right now. They don't even know what's going on.
I mean, yeah.
You take the subtitles off. It's all in Spanish. No one
she
cares.
just has no attention span for that. She gets all mad at me.
All right, everybody, listen. Hey, jump to the chat real quick because this is the only way I know how to do polls right now in the new platform here on StreamYard. So click on that link, fill out the form. We'll see what responses come in. We're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions. We haven't had the show since New Year's. Missed last week. Was on a cruise ship. Was not going to waste my time talking to you guys during my vacation. But we're back this week. And so some New Year's resolutions. That's right.
I'm not going to waste my time.
That's right. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, kind of see what people did. New Year's is a really interesting time because it's one day, but it seems like in everybody's mind, it like changes everything. Like it's brand new. I'm starting fresh. Like you can literally start fresh every day. But for some reason, January 1st, everybody's like, I can start fresh. This is my time to start fresh. I'm going to do it. And so go ahead and answer some of those questions. Then we're going to talk about some of the results real quick. We'll go from there. I got a little Drake going on. So, went from Adele to Drake. I don't listen to a lot of Drake, but, Mishak, what's up, brother?
Mishak is here.
We're in the hat, man. How are you doing today? What's going on?
I'm good. Hello, ladies and gents. How are you doing? I gotta fix my hat here. Just out in the snow. It's like piling up out there.
We just talked about that. Kyle's complaining about it and all that kind of stuff. So no, I got 4 inches coming this week. Raquel's got 12. She's going She's going skiing.
Skiing.
Where are you going?
I was gonna say every time I see snow, it's perfect. I'm sure in your case, right? You see snow, you're like, let's go skiing. It's the best.
We're gonna go to New York, going to Peak and Peak to go skiing.
Nice.
It's like an hour and a half from us.
Nice.
That's not the same. That's not the same as Coleman. Coleman's in Colorado. It's actually
Coleman drives an hour.
You're going icing.
You're right.
I'm not the business of shaming other
Ice
people
mountain.
skiing though. That's still going to be a blast. You're going to have fun.
Kyle, this could be fresh snow. I mean, if you think about it, Raquel's just getting the snow. It's going to be fresh. It's not going to be iced over yet. It's got to take some time or some additional precipitation to become ice. Let's give her a break. She's going to have a great time. So
we will be in Colorado in March to go skiing there. So
there we go.
Much better.
We'll get it in. Yes.
Awesome.
Hey, you're gonna have to explain that. I need that cultural reference.
The East Coast is basically ice.
Black people don't like Nickelback.
Yeah. Oh,
Drake is a Nickelback.
Schools Drake.
Well, we get both.
You're wrong, Dave, by the way. Nickelback is coming back.
Yeah.
All the young kids that I work with fucking love Nickelback.
They never left.
Listen, you've been isolated.
They think he's a banger. They don't understand it. I've tried to explain to them it was on the radio all the time. That's all you heard.
You're terrible.
I am not wrong. Let's bring your kids on. Let's bring your kids. I guarantee they'll be like, "Mommy."
I don't know what that was.
Dad, why do all the vowels sound the same?
I got Nickelback from that. I heard it.
All right, everybody. So let's talk about some of the results of this poll that we just had there in the chat box for those of you that are doing it. So 7 of you did not create New Year's resolutions on this call. Way to go. Good job. 1 of you did. 1 did, and 1 person hasn't answered yet. So of those that have done the resolutions, 2 of them have already broken them. So that's interesting. I'm not sure how the math adds up there. 1 is not. 5 didn't make any. Yeah, this doesn't. You guys aren't consistent with your answers here.
Here's the question: are you talking about New Year's resolutions or goals?
I was going to ask the same thing.
I've absolutely got 2022 goals.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, resolutions are I don't know. I think they're different than goals. I feel like goals tend to be a little bit more serious. Resolutions tend to not be I'm not going to smoke till February. Something like that. Or
goals are good. Resolutions.
I should be able to hit that one.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, by February, everybody's broken it. 90% of people break them before.
Oh, yeah. They might go a week, maybe. I mean, I'd be good to know when it starts to trickle down or tailor off.
At least for working out,
tell
it's the third week of January. You can tell the first 2 weeks, and you can slowly see people dwindling off, and in about that third week, it gets about normal.
Is that why they say 21 days? Is that where that comes from? From
I
a
would
scientific
guess.
perspective, that if you can do it for 3 weeks for 21 days, and you're probably going to hold on to it. I mean, I've done things for 21 days and it didn't last, but I'm not really contributing to that statistic very well.
So when I was still in the PT world, that's why I always told all my patients, if you're going to buy exercise equipment, start hitting Craigslist around March, because that's when everybody starts selling everything.
Absolutely.
And you can get some terrific deals on really expensive exercise equipment.
I bet the people who love New Year's the most are probably gym owners, because they get new subscriptions and the people never show up after a couple of months. They're probably loving, business goes up.
That is how Export, Planet Fitness, Lifetime Fitness, that is their whole model is sign up and never come back.
Yep. I can see. I mean, I'm assuming at your gym, Bane, it's pretty consistent throughout, where you don't get that influx. It's more of the traditional gyms, like you're saying.
So the 2 gyms that I'm a part of, I would say the least tenured person at 2XL is 4 years, and that's me. And the least tenured person at Wolfpack is 8 years.
Yeah.
I love how Bane's a member of 2 gyms. He's doing my gym membership for me.
I have one that's 30 minutes for me, and then I have the one that I go if I'm going to go heavy, I don't go to 2XL because I don't have people that can spot me versus the Wolfpack, and that's where my actual coach is.
Gotta go 3XL.
I'm a 1,000-pound squatter, and I'm middle of the pack.
Yeah, I always have trouble finding spotters as well. Yeah.
Oh, smokes.
You know what? I would love for a gym to do a December, advertising campaign that literally says, we're hoping that you have a great New Year's, sign up with us and never come back. Literally put that on a marketing. I would just, the balls it would take to do that. I would love to see that.
$2 a month, and if you show up, it becomes $10 that month. Have fun.
Yeah.
You know how many people would do that?
I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm telling you. that'd be a pretty interesting business model to see if they could get that. But yeah, it's interesting. Okay, question 3. What percentage of people, this is not you guys, this is just in general, what percentage of people say losing weight or getting in shape is their number one New Year's resolution? One of you said 20 to 40%. 4 of you said 41 to 60%. One said 61 to 80, and 2 of you said more than 80%. The correct answer is 48%. 48% of New Year's resolutions have a fitness goal in mind.
As soon as I said above 80%, and I looked at the next question, and the highest percentage was 72 that make a New Year's resolution, I'm like, well, I think my answer just went out the window right there.
Well, no, that's percentage of people that make resolutions, but we're talking about the ones that make them. What percentage, of course?
Okay.
Yeah, so no, you're good. You're good. No, then we throw you off on that. Okay, so next question: for what percentage of the population makes New Year's resolutions? Was it 31%? 46%, 57, or 72. 2 of you picked 31%, and you are the winners. Only 31% of people nowadays make New Year's resolutions. That's as of 2021. That is not including this year. So that was last year's statistic. We'll see if this year's jumps up, but I doubt it will. We're in the same situation we were last year. The rest of you guys, losers, all wrong. Who put 72%? 3 out of 4 people make resolutions? Juan? Seriously?
No, I mean, think about this. Too. Jeez.
If you know 4 people, would you say?
I know if it's over here. It's like everybody. Like, if I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, "You ain't think shit. I know you did."
I mean, that's how it ends up, but that's true. So, all right. So we're able to do polls. I'm excited. So I got to figure. Is that okay? Was the form okay to click on?
I don't remember what I voted for at all.
Nope.
Good. Yeah, because you can't really see, right? You can't see. Yeah. I know that sucks. Maybe WordStream will get that. Yeah, Mishak.
I was saying, don't you think that a lot of people don't do New Year's resolutions just because they've heard so many times how they don't work? And like we keep reading articles every year where it's just like doesn't make a difference.
Do you think it matters by age? Because to me, like I'm at this point where I know they don't work, but if I was 22, maybe I still kind of think this is the way to do it, right? And maybe when you're younger, you kind of think this works, but as old people are like, well, this doesn't work. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make a goal one day and decide to go after it if that's what I'm going to do. Like, who cares what day of the year it is?
Well, that's the question. Is the people who know
that goes on,
the people who know that they don't work, are they the ones who then turn it and make goals? Or is the vast majority of people just so oblivious that they don't work that they're like, you know what? Yeah, this year I'm going to get after it. And this is my New Year's resolution. And that's the majority of people who just kind of keep getting in that hamster wheel and go back and forth.
I feel like when I was younger,
weird New Year's tradition, like New Year's Eve traditions.
What was that?
Do you guys have any sort of like New Year's Eve traditions, like weird stuff like that people do for like good luck and omens and stuff?
No. Try to be in bed before midnight.
I don't know where you're going with that.
Man, you got to come to Colombia. New Year's Eve in Colombia is the most hilarious thing in the world.
Tell us, please.
Yeah. There's one. This is the most common one. People grab their luggage and they start running around the block with the luggage right before noon, like right before 12 strikes. Because if you're doing that, you're going to travel that year. So people do it. So on top of that,
I love it.
I've never done that before. I'm doing that next year.
That's one.
Is this true for anything? So like if you, I don't know. If you do anything at midnight, that's what you're going to do that year.
People use underwear, Bane's t-shirt color, like yellow, very bright underwear. And there's some people that put the underwear on top of the jeans and run around the block with the luggage. While
what does that mean?
Into the air.
Why?
They're going to get new underwear that year?
Rentals supposedly bring fortune. The yellow underwear brings good luck. And then the luggage is travel. And you'll see people running around the block throwing it like that. It's crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry to laugh, Juan. Oh, my gosh.
Every time I see that from the balcony of my mom's house, I'm like, oh, my goodness.
Who came up with this, number one? And who agreed to go along with it, number two?
Guaranteed. Right? It was a parent that had an annoying kid and was like, hey, do this. And they were saying it was going to be a funny thing. And then it just ended up sticking and spread.
This is something my mom used to do. And she used to tell us, oh, you got to do this. And I did it once with her, like when I was probably like 13, which is hilarious. We giggled our asses off. And then you'll see a great part of the population that hide under tables right before noon, right before, the first strikes. Supposedly because that takes away all the problems. So you'll see people like hiding under tables right when the clock strikes.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
Crazy stuff.
There's some parent, that is like, I just told Johnny to go do it as a joke, and they're all doing it. Everybody's doing it this year. Like, didn't even mean it. That's
Like the cinnamon challenge.
Oh,
Yes. I would
That's
say
horrible.
the U.S. Just blows things up, right? Like we used to take pots and pans and go bang on them, or we get fireworks and blow things up at midnight. That's how we welcome the new year.
That's our excuse for every holiday, though. Just
Yeah,
blow
yeah,
some stuff up.
That's
Let's
true.
be real. This is America. At some point, we've either blown something up or bombed somebody. So it's like, yeah, let's just go blow some more shit up. Why not?
That's right. That's right. Hit somebody and light the trigger. Let's go. Let's do it.
Also, you
Kinda
don't
how
like
that
this? I'm you too.
Oh, awesome. All right. Well, thank you for taking the poll. Appreciate that. Let's switch gears for a minute. We're going to talk a little bit of sports. We got two things to talk about. First of all, the Georgia Bulldogs took down the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I don't know about you, but I'm actually happy about that because I think getting different winners is good in college football as opposed
It's still
to
the SEC. It's still bullshit.
It's still the SEC. I get
Hey,
it, but at least it was
hey,
Alabama.
I said what I said.
Don't be jealous because we kick your butts every year.
I know, Justin. You think that somebody will be able
Whoa.
to figure this out?
You
know?
guys just have better
Whoa.
steroid stacks.
What was your bowl? What was your bowl record, SEC?
Yeah, it wasn't
the
good
bowl
this year.
record was not that good, but they did win the big one, so nobody cares, right?
Though, as a UT fan, I can say we officially got the biggest hose job of the season in the bowl game.
You guys were in a bowl game? See, I didn't even-
Great.
I-
Savage.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Just-
So is that the biggest? Maybe that's it right there. Just the fact that nobody knew you were in it. So, anyways, yeah. So it was a pretty good game actually. It
was a good game.
I enjoyed the fact that it was competitive, that it had drama, that it had a heroine in terms of the quarterback being an underdog story. I mean, how often does a college football player, I know he walked on at Georgia, but go to a university and then go to a junior college and then come back and win a national championship? I mean, I can't. Has anybody ever done that? No. I mean, I doubt it, right? Who? What?
Cam Newton did it.
He went to junior college and then came back and won a national championship? Oh, well, I guess the story wasn't
I
that
didn't know he
good.
went to JUCO. I thought he was in Miami.
Somebody look it up.
Hold on. He went to Florida. He got
Right.
kicked out because he was stealing laptops. He got sent
That's
to
what-
JUCO.
yeah.
He then goes to
Okay.
Auburn. He was
Well,
the
that's a
high
little
school.
self-inflicted, all right?
Right.
This guy went there because
His wasn't
play.
talent related.
To be fair,
Yeah.
Bane's correct. Bane's
mean,
right,
I-
though. You asked the question, he
On a
answered.
technicality, you're right, but that's a totally different story. This is actually this is a good story. All right. Well, anyways, it was a good story. Good
Tears
drama.
ACL.
It is a good story. It is a good story.
I'll tell you, probably the best moment of the whole thing, though, for me was Nick Saban's interview afterwards. Did you guys see it in the press?
Yeah.
Where he had the two guys, and they were obviously just crushed. And, for somebody who's so competitive and who is always talking about, just working hard and going after it, blah, 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 for him just to pause for a moment and just look as human as I've ever seen him, where he just appreciated those guys. Like, I mean, I think that when you think about leadership, a lot of people want to be the coach Nick Saban, who is the hard-nosed, winning all the time, blah, blah, blah. But to be the person like that and to recognize what your guys need when they need it and to publicly give it to them like that, man, kudos Nick Saban. It was huge. I thought that was just an awesome moment.
For sure.
Going back to something we talked about earlier on the show, Trey, is when you talk about employee retention, those are the types of things that matter the most. When you're talking about going into your organization, those are the types of things you want to train people on, highlight, because ultimately it's going to be those middle management leaders, those people that really never get that spotlight like a Nick Saban. It's going to be his OCs and that type of thing. That's what truly is going to make the difference in retention with your employees, is being able to humanize the work experience or the life experience, whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with that. And I would say this too, like not only that, but if you're not intentionally developing leaders in your organization and putting your money where your mouth is by investing in people and resources to develop your leaders, then you're not going to get to those things. Those things are going to get missed. One leader might communicate that to a few people in the organization, but it will not be organization-wide. So
that's something we're seeing right now with our clients is every call I've been on this week, we've talked about organizational transformation, and the first or second thing that comes up is leadership training and engagement.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's absolutely right. And, the organizations that do it well, and I'm going to give a shout out to Lippert Components in Elkhart, Indiana. Jason Lippert, the CEO, I got to interview him for Bathrooms and Bunkers podcast. And they have 14 full-time employees whose only job is to make sure leaders and middle managers are developing, are growing. And a lot of people say, well, it's the CEO's job or the C-level executive's jobs or the director's jobs. No, they got a full-time job. Like they've got work they've got to do. Do they want to be, should they be good leaders and should they be passive? Absolutely. But you need somebody who their only focus is developing leaders. And if you put your money where your mouth is and that matters to you, then that's, that's where to go. Did we lose Nico? Is he gone, or is he still with us?
I think his camera's just off.
There you go. Okay, just making sure. He's on the phone. All right, cool. No worries. You can work.
I think everybody sees that thing on LinkedIn about once a week. There's one of those little memes that says it has one guy in a corporation talking to the boss, and he says, "What if we invest all this money in these people and they leave?" And the boss says, "Yeah, but what if we don't invest any money and they stay?"
Yep.
Yeah, that's so true and so good. Yeah, I hope that companies will really get serious about that. And Bain, that's really interesting that you mentioned that all the people you're talking to, like, they're starting to think about that. And I think the reason they're starting to think about that is because retention is such an issue, because leadership is changing. You're no longer leading people in an office. You're now having to learn how to lead virtually and use different tools and different tactics and understand people better. Yeah, it's all changing.
Those who are not great at communicating have been exposed mightily during this remote.
Are we going to see like the death of the process manager? Because I so hope we do. I think process management is really what takes a hit when you're looking at like disparate workforces, because you don't have like the overbearing sales manager like standing over your shoulder going like, "Oh, get your dials up." You're not doing this or that on the phone. Like you would think that the remote environment would make it easier to like make your employees feel comfortable, doing their jobs, as opposed to, you have like still record numbers of people resigning and quitting from jobs, and they're looking at, I've got quite a few friends who are in executive management who have said that like right after, February the 1st, they're out because that's when they get their bonuses. And it's like, $20,000-$30,000 if they leave, February 1st versus before then.
Yeah, but it's a double-edged sword, because it's not, it's about, you can definitely, I think, get people to feel more comfortable working from home if they like that. If they're an extrovert, they're going to struggle. If they're an introvert, they're probably going to enjoy that. But here's the difference is they're going to be left alone on an island. They're going to feel like they're literally by themselves. And it's a much bigger challenge for a manager to make sure people feel connected when they're not in the office than as opposed to the natural connections that come when you are in the office. And
you said it.
There.
Well, and I guess my other question to that goes back to, you're talking about the death of the process, man. When you're looking at having somebody work from home, to give them the processes, to give them the structure to say, hey, this is how you can be successful. I don't think it's going to be the death of it. I think maybe I'm misunderstanding, what you're talking about, but I think it's going to magnify the importance of that, because now you talk to people, I need to have the expectations. I need to know what's expected of me so that I can do my job well. And I need to know how to do that well. From a sales side of things, I'm talking to my team.
They need orders. They need a process. They need an SOP. Like
it's going to have to be more clearly defined and better communicated. And again, like I said, not only that, but you're going to have to find a way to make people feel connected in a way that you haven't had to do before. One thing that I was thinking about that, because, I work with people down in Colombia every day. And, we've been doing this for a long time. And so I've learned just a couple of tricks. And one of those tricks is we'll just throw on a Zoom call for like 2 hours in the morning and just be on it. And you don't have to say anything. You don't have to talk, but it's almost like we're in the same room. And when something does come up, then we talk about it, we fix it. Or if we're just, kind of shooting the bull, talking about the game that happened this last week. I've got one of my managers down there who's huge into LA sports. And so we're talking about, the Rams and the Chargers and different things, all the time. And sometimes just being in that Zoom call gives you the effect that you're in a room when you're not actually there. And if you're a manager, you can do that and actually use the lobby. So if somebody wants to come in and talk to you, they come in the lobby, almost like knocking on a door. Then you can let them in, or you can message them and say, hey, not right now, come back in 20 minutes. And it gives that feel that you're available, that you're connected, that there's some communication that can go on. It's those types of skills, those types of tools that managers are not used to using. And they've got to figure out how to incorporate that in order to make sure that their work from home remote employees feel connected and really understand what their job is. And like Juan said, it's got to be more defined and more clearly defined, because they're literally at home like, okay, what do I do? I need to know exactly what to do.
If not, everybody's going to be running for the hills on their own, like every man by themselves, like in any process. Like if you don't have a carrier sales group that's coordinated, everybody's going to be running for the hills, and eventually something bad's going to happen. Like somebody's going to make a mistake, somebody's going to overlook something. And if there's not someone paying attention to that, to like the people that are doing it, it's gonna slip through the cracks.
And this has
But I
always
think
been
that's
true.
where-
Hang on a second, Nico, just 1 second. This has always been true, but it's going to be even more true now. And that is how you make people feel. How, as a boss, as a leader, as a manager, are you making your people feel is going to just become even more of an issue than it was before. Because somebody might have felt bad, had a bad relationship with a boss before, maybe liked their coworkers and got to be around them all day or something like that. Now it's going to be highlighted even more, the relationship between direct, a supervisor and a direct report. Sorry, Nico, go ahead.
No, I think that, disparate workforces, really make it so that you have to focus more on people management than just pure process management. Like, you have to have your goals that your team has to hit. You have to have base expectations, but you can't be like, how many times have you walked into a sales org and, seen like the manager sitting, looking kind of like a lifeguard staring out of their office at, people on the phones and stuff like that. You can't have that same mentality of a purely process manager when you're not in an office all day. You have to focus a lot more on your team and on individual coaching, because that's really the only way that you're getting to your people. That's the only way you're connecting to your people.
Yeah,
and if companies embrace that, they'll be more successful. And I think that's why productivity has gone up while people have been in the house.
I think
So you're not
to plus and add to that. I think maybe there's just a vernacular thing that's going on here. Is what you're talking about, and I agree with you. Is it's going to be much more towards the managing of people versus the managing of process and production. That is like it's been evolving towards that, but I think this has been accelerated over the last 24 months. Am I hearing that correctly? How you're trying to describe that?
Absolutely.
Perfect. I think there's just something lost in there, because at first when you said there's no more process manager, I'm like, no. That process manager role is going to evolve into something that maps and then begins to automate those processes that are redundant. But there will always be a need to be able to manage people properly, not necessarily manage to process.
Yeah, managing people is going to become much more critical.
That makes more sense. And I'll even say that I think historically, even though it may be accelerating now, the best managers that you've ever had have probably been ones that, yeah, they know what your numbers are. They know, hey, you made X amount of calls, but they don't get so caught up in it to say, wow, you missed your call volume by half, but you exceeded your productivity numbers. And when that happens, the question shouldn't be, how can we get your call numbers up? It's, what are you doing that's making you more efficient and productive?
Right. How can we teach other people to do what you're doing?
Yeah, the ones I loved were like, your productivity would be through the roof, and they'd be like, well, but if you were making your 60 calls a day, just think of where your numbers would be. Go F yourself. Yeah. I'm hitting my number.
Exactly. Well, think about this. I used to do door-to-door office supply sales, and the goal was to hit 50 businesses a day. But there was one day in particular where I walked in and literally everybody that I'd been talking to was like, hey, we're ready to order today. I mean, it was one of those weird days, right? I saw 10 businesses that day, but I had 7 deals that day, right? Do you think my boss cared that I didn't hit my 40 doors I was supposed to hit? No, not a bit, because I got 7 deals that day. And if you can get, 2 or 3 deals a day and only see 30 doors, a boss would much have preferred that as somebody who hit 60 doors and got 1 deal. Like there's, the relationship between productivity and results has always been a little kind of skewed in the wrong direction, in my opinion. We're so focused on hitting metrics, where I'm of the opinion that metrics are only something to look at when numbers aren't being, when productivity is not being hit, results. Then you look at the metrics and say, okay, let's try to figure out why. But if somebody comes in and does, hits their numbers, and it only takes them 10 hours a week to do it, who cares? Like, you're bringing them in to hit the numbers. You're not bringing them in to make the phone calls. So I think that that's going to change as well, because people are working from home now. And so it's going to be more of relationship in terms of how happy they are. But then they're going to have to look at the data and say, what are the results? And if the results are good, they need to leave them alone. If that means they get an extra half day a week to go do something they want to do, heck, they're going to be more happy about that, more likely.
I wonder if that's why salesperson turnover is so high, because sales is the only industry where you can be hitting your expected number and still get crapped on for not hitting base metrics. If you're an accountant and you're auditing all your accounts, and you have an extra couple hours in a day, it's not like your manager comes around and is like, hey, could you audit another account? That's such a sales.
Right. It's totally sales. Exactly. And it's poor leadership. It's poor management. Sales management is going to have to improve through this process, along with a lot of other management aspects to it. So probably write a book about this. Somebody can make some money. Bane, let's talk. Let's do this.
Let's make it happen.
I mean,
let's make it happen.
I just want to
All
say
right, everybody.
a lot
Yeah,
of people are missing. I think COVID, more than anything else, has shown us how we don't understand human behavior and how important it is to understand human
100%.
behavior. You know, drive and how drive works. The reason it works so much to be in an office is you have a culture and you have a community, and we are shaped by our surroundings. And when you take those surroundings out, then you're left with people that are kind of running on whatever you've given them or whatever you give them, and you need to nurture that a little bit more. And I think a lot of people are being very productive over the last 2 years, not in a sustainable way. I think that we got a lot of productivity because people are they don't have balance in life. They're worried. They're scared. That's gonna burn people out. We're gonna have real problems, and it's only gonna get worse. So I think it's a time right now to kind of read books like Drive, understand what actually changes behaviors and what actually reinforces a culture of success.
Yeah, and what makes people tick, like what makes them successful, how to put them in a position to succeed, and what does that really look like, and how is that different than it's been before? Because I think a lot of these shifts are going to have to change from a management standpoint, without a doubt. So we have a puppy sighting. Nico, what's your dog's name?
Her name is Sosa. We just rescued her last week from a shelter.
Sosa, as in like
as in Sammy Sosa. Yeah.
Sammy Sosa. Yes, awesome, very cool. Very good. I know that Raquel liked seeing the dogs hiding. Very good. All right. So one thing real quick, and then we're going to go to This Week in Pictures, and we're going to wrap it up. We're getting close. So we got NFL playoffs. There's another one, Bane. We got the NFL playoffs starting this week. My Chiefs did not get the bye, but they are the team to beat. Let's just admit it, everybody. How many people are going to be watching the wild card round on Saturday? Going to spend some time doing that? Yeah, no doubt. With the snow coming in, I'll be sledding and then watching football this week. So very excited about that. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping my Chiefs can get back to the Super Bowl. We'll see how it goes, but very excited.
They won't. Don't worry.
Are you guys happy with the extra team or not happy with the extra team? How many people are happy that there's an extra playoff team on each side?
My team still isn't in it, so I could care less.
See, I like the fact that, well, maybe because it was symmetry, but I like the fact that there were two teams that got a bye. There was something to play for that second spot. Because you might have a team that just blitzes everybody and earns, like the Packers were in the front spot for a long time over the NFC. But to go after that second bye, I thought really made it competitive down the stretch, and I missed that. So, and of course, my Chiefs got the number 2 seed, so of course I wish they had the bye. But
just so long as it doesn't turn into basketball where over half the teams make the playoffs.
Yeah, and a ton of teams with losing records. I hate that about basketball. Losing record teams, especially on the East, at least it used to be on the East division, would make the playoffs with a losing record. Like if you have a losing record, you should not get to be in the playoffs at all, in my opinion.
I'll say this: in the NFL, there are teams that get losing records that make it because they win their division. I'm okay with that because it happens rarely. And if you win your division and you still have a losing record,
that way. Yeah,
I know. In basketball, it's different, but then that means the rest of your division is that bad. At least you guys beat up on each other.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about basketball is that it is based solely on your record and not on your division, because like you're right. Like when the Washington, Redskins win the division at, 5-11 or 6-10, whatever that was, like that was, brutal. See you on. So anyways, well, we'll see how it goes. Excited about that. By the way, before we go to This Week in Pictures, if anybody talks to Diana, let her know she came too late. Bummer. Wish she was here.
Ouch.
I don't know what to say. All right, we're going to jump over to This Week in Pictures. Got some good ones this week. Got to let you guys know what I've been doing as well as what's been happening in the news. So let me share my screen. Hopefully I'll do it just a little bit faster this time than I did last time.
I was going to say, word on the street is transitioned to like Clubhouse a little bit, right? You gotta make sure you're in that top 10. Get invited.
Yeah, exactly right. We're just making exclusive. That's right. So had a chance to go on a cruise, which is really cool. Western Caribbean cruise. Went to Nassau, Bahamas. Did some snorkeling there, which was awesome. The clearest water I've ever been in. Got to go to Belize. That's where this picture's taken with my wife Tammy and I. We were at the Mayan ruins in Belize, which was really fascinating to see. And they said that it took them 50 years to build one of those temples, and I believe it because they're carrying the rocks, from quarries that were several miles away. But pretty crazy there. But got to do that. That was a lot of fun. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, just some more pictures of the ruins. Very interesting how they had these very flat areas for the marketplace and for some other things. But they had these huge temples that they built, and that they had their leaders that were buried in those tombs within the temples. So learned a lot about that. Celebrated our anniversary finally on the cruise. So that was pretty cool. Got this nice little dessert, especially just for anniversaries. You only get this on Princess if you're celebrating anniversary. So that was pretty cool. This is something really interesting. I saw this on TikTok and I thought this was interesting. These guys, I'm kind of jealous.
I love
these guys during a rainy day took their chairs and went and were asking cars to splash them. So, they're just like, come on. They're like trying to direct them so the car would come over and drive in and splash them. I thought, you know what? I need to be a kid again and have some fun with that. I thought that was pretty cool. But if you didn't see that, that was either on TikTok or Instagram. I can't remember which. Big news. My wife finished this puzzle. Everybody look at this puzzle. Look at all the orange. Can you imagine?
Oof.
Like that took her a month and a half and she worked on it almost every night. Pretty crazy. We got that puzzle though from our trip to Hershey this last year. Hershey, PA. Shout out to PA, everybody. So that was cool. This is my dog sleeping. I just thought that was kind of a fun picture. That's how he sleeps. So he got his paws up. Pretty cute there. And then Wednesday, everybody, would have been my dad's 77th birthday. He's been gone for almost 17 years now. March 11th, will be 17 years he passed away. But that is my dad. That's where I come from, and that's a young me with hair, a little more hair, and no gray. So in a little better shape. All that. So, all right, let's transition to some.
I like the hair now more, though. I have to say.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been working on it, man. I've been really trying to work it out. Not too much different, but a little bit more character to it. This is what it looks like on WordStream when Diana tries to get in and can't. That's it right there. So apparently I have to go to the professional plan maybe and see if I can do that, but didn't work out on that. Interesting story. The two stores responsible for the majority of testing, or at least free testing in the United States, had to close recently because of COVID and a surge in staff shortages. So I tried to get a test when I got back from the cruise just to see, just to make sure that I was good, and had to wait a week to do that. And as you guys know, with Omicron, there's a good chance if you have that you might not even be, test positive at that point, just because it's only about a 5-day period. So, anyways,
the testing infrastructure in this country is just ridiculous. Like I'm not like, hey, everybody needs to go out and get a test, but my mother tested positive for COVID on Monday, and she lives, in my house, in my basement. So like I had to go out and find tests for the rest of my family to make sure that we were okay. There is no excuse for it taking me 2 hours to find COVID tests.
And that's if you're lucky, because a lot of stores don't have any of them.
I see that, and I can raise you.
Raise us. Go for it.
I spent 3 hours in my car with my 1.5-year-old, which I know to you guys is nothing compared to a teenager. 3 hours in a car, because in Massachusetts we have this like child care, early child and family thing. So I spent 3 hours just for us 3 cars before we're supposed to go, them to get out and say, hey, we're done for the night.
Oh, no. That especially with a small child. Now that's unacceptable. Being trapped in the house with a small child is one thing. Being in a car with a small child is hell.
No bathrooms. Yeah. It's winter, so it's not like I can take her out and just run around in the parking lot or anything. It was we were in like
you could have, but you might have gotten a phone call from.
I was freezing. Like, oh no, I did eventually. I was like, you know what, you're screaming, can't handle this anymore. Let's go outside. Yeah, it's embarrassing. Of like, how are we a first world country and this is how we handle testing? Like that part's just like, what did you guys do? Like, what you say trust science, but like you government didn't do anything to make us be able to do that stuff. I know pain, whatever. You get all mad about all this crap, but like that's the thing that's driving me nuts about it right now.
I'll tell you this right now. I'm calling this. You can put this anywhere you want. Clip this out. This is going to be done by Memorial Day. We're going to get notice somewhere in mid-May. Hey, no masks, no vaccination cards, nothing. We beat the Rona. Congratulations. Our plan worked. Vote for us in November.
Fireworks.
Calling it now.
Fireworks. Blowing up some stuff.
Blow stuff up.
It wouldn't surprise
me. Put your underwear over your pants. Let's go.
I'm just saying. They're definitely rating 33%. Got to do something to get it back.
See, here's the thing. They're definitely going to spin it both ways. But, I mean, like, which side would you rather? I mean, it's interesting because, like, the Republicans' messaging right now is you haven't stopped COVID, you suck, right? Which I don't know if we want to celebrate that. I mean, true or not, I don't know that you want that to be your message. So I don't know. We'll see it, but they're definitely gonna, they're twist it to whatever they can.
Absolutely.
Either side.
All I'm saying is they've now come out and said that cannabinoids assist with preventing COVID from entering human cells. When weed beats the Rona, it's over.
That's why I haven't caught it yet.
Oh, that's in a lab. That's in a petri dish. Everything kills everything in a petri dish.
Actually, there was studies last year that THC actually blocks the ACE receptors from taking in COVID through your nose in the first place. And then there was extra stuff that came out recently about THCA and CBDA killing the virus itself. So it's been listed for a while that THC actually does help protect against COVID.
But you want to know why this is going to continue to be perpetuated? Is guess who just bought a cannabis company? Pfizer.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
Yeah.
We got to make you have an aluminum hat or something thing that you put on every time. You're like, here we go. Boop.
All right. Also in the news this week, Novak Djokovic, world-class tennis player, former current number one. Anyways, he is continually being denied entrance into Australia to compete. Interestingly enough, though, he broke protocol. He put the wrong information on his form, so I don't have a lot of sympathy for him right now. But that's kind of making news in Australia because he's so far playing by the rules minus those two infractions. But they keep denying it. So that tournament starts in 3 days. We'll see what happens with that.
But you know.
Sorry, we gotta go a little faster. Sorry, we'll have to catch up next week. We already talked about this great resignation. 55% of Americans say they anticipate looking for a new job, especially if they're asked to work from the office again. So we'll see how that works out. And then I thought this was interesting. 700 sheep and goats were arranged in the shape of a syringe to promote. How do you get sheep and goats into that formation to take the picture? I mean, can you even imagine how many people would that take to wrangle up and get them in that formation to take that picture?
It's all food. You sprinkle food around.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably a good idea. You guys are smarter than me. And then finally, last one is this. I thought this was interesting. A blender was held hostage by 3 cats for weeks. Apparently, the owners just could not get the cats off. How does this work? A cat, I'm not a cat person. If a cat is got claws and just doesn't can they literally keep you from picking them up?
Not if you knock them off the box.
I mean, you're bigger than a cat. So
I mean, they land on their feet. It's not going to hurt them.
So the cat story was more important than Antonio Brown's crazy freak out shirt off. We didn't want to talk about that. We want to talk about 3 cats holding a blender hostage.
Know. Listen, Kyle. When I'm putting this together,
that thing was an interesting story. But
I know I could use some help. That definitely happened. We should have talked about that oversight in production. But you know, when I'm doing this, I'm just thinking of things I remember.
Not even the great resignation. The greatest
peace out shirt off.
I wish I could go back and be like, but the greatest resignation is. And then Antonio, that would have been so good. But, whatever. This is an amateur show, people. Listen, hey, thanks for joining us for episode 89 of Word on the Street. We'll be back next week with episode 90. We're getting closer to episode 100. Thanks you guys for joining. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Street Crew.
Bye.
If you see 12 people, we got professional.
You pay for it.
That's when it became a professional, not amateur hour.
Have a good weekend.
See you guys.
See ya.